because I didn't know that Lynn was going to die. And I don't know if her family did, but I think in a way now, especially toward the end, after we completed the interviews, that she did know. But there must have been, as you said, something inside of her that the willingness to take this journey, because it was a very long, detailed journey with me, and she was very open, disarming, and just a warm, wonderful person. When you're blessed with somebody like her who grants you an interview, or anyone for that matter, you don't shake the stick and say, go here, go there, speed it up. You know, you can ask the questions, but in a way I let her take the lead. And I think there was a spiritual lead there now, too.
Yes, yeah, and you were the one. I mean, whether she picked you or you picked the project, or it seems like everything lined up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's that magic element that is a part of any really good project. That magic element that brings all these pieces together. What is it that you learned about yourself as a writer and about writing in general?
Listen. Listen, listen, listen. Listen to what people say. Reflect.
So a writer is often a good listener.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I got some of my most interesting material out of this book by letting people digress. That's what is a babe in the woods when they embark on any project. And I don't think you get your footing until maybe you're halfway through.
And it's every project.
Every
it starts
project.
all over again.
Right. It's all. I mean, don't you find that when you do a writing project, that the second half is always like 10 times better than the first half, and then when you go back for the first rewrite, you're totally rewriting the first half, whereas the second half is there's less.
So you kind of found your way.
You find your way, and I think that when doing my research, especially when it came to interviewing people, that I had to find my way by letting other people take the lead. So when they digress, I let them digress. I mean, far be it from me. I was not to say stay on topic, you know, because they're granting you a favor. And there was the most interesting things were brought up just by listening to people. After each interview, I would immediately transcribe it so it was fresh in my memory. Good. And I would put down sigh, laugh, halting voice, and I would listen to these things over the years again and again, because there would always be things that I wouldn't catch. Because as I remember your once saying that there's so much of what is not said. 94%
of our communication as people happens non-verbally.
Exactly.
Which makes it tough on us playwrights, because all we have is dialogue.
Right, exactly. Because a different reading could convey a completely different message.
So you have to.
Lynn even said herself, "Never believe all the garbage you read in movie magazines, things like that. Go to sources that are, like the New York Times, the LA Times, the Associated Press, really bona fide. A lot of what one finds on the internet now, believe me, including about Lynn Barry, is not correct. Once something is in print or once something is on the internet, then you start to see it lifted from one place to the next. So really, really pay attention to your research sources. And you have to call it quits at some point, because every time you interview someone, every time you do some research, when you're writing, especially writing biographies and other nonfiction, it opens up 4 other roads you can go down. And some of them are very fascinating, but I could be writing this book when I'm lowered into the grave or something. I had to call it quits at some point. And as you have said, and I've read in your writings and heard you in person mention this, we don't aspire to perfection, hopefully we make some progress along the way, and we have to sort of achieve a sense of completion and just let it go.
That's the feeling that you try to get, is a feeling of completion. Right. Perfection kills the writer. I mean, if you strive for that, you'll go nuts.
Right.
Because it doesn't ever happen, no matter how hard you work.
Exactly, exactly. Don't keep reworking and reworking and reworking to death. Walk away from it, come back to it the next day, or come back to it in 5 hours or something, because it's futile. It's wasted time, because then you're getting into this kind of perfectionist, fine tuning, and you realize you've been working on one sentence for 3 hours, and forget it.
9 years is a long time to write a project.
Yes.
And I can only imagine that there were days that you didn't feel like writing? That maybe your mind was being inundated with, why am I doing
Well,
this?
not only were there days, Lisa, there were years. This is not 9 consecutive years we're talking about. These were 9 years and about 3 clumps.
But you get discouraged. What can you tell the writers out there when they get discouraged? Because a lot of us writers have to hold down other jobs to pay our bills. You know,
Right.
we have to do so many different things just to be able to have a couple of hours a day to sit down and do what we really love.
Right. When I started out with this in the early years of this book saga, I was working enormous hours each day. I was productive, but to the expense of, like, I was doing my other work that I was bringing home the bacon with, like, you know, at midnight, 2 in the morning, and it just totally burnt me out. Work about 3 hours a day. Don't go, if most go half an hour more. But that's it. I put limitations on myself. I picked a certain time of day in the late afternoon. I said, okay, you're going to return to this around 2:30 every afternoon, and, you know, hopefully be finished by 6. And that's it. I said, come hell or high water. This was October 1st, 2006, and this was now my 10th draft, folks. And it's a 500-page book, 150,000 words or more. This is it. You're going to finish this. I started on October 10th of 2006. November 11th, 2008, I completed, and 2 weeks later it was accepted for publication.
So
Pacing does help your perseverance because you're not burning out all the time, which is the biggest discouragement factor.
Why do we think we should write 8 hours a day? Why do we think that?
I don't know, and it's crazy, and it's always worked to my detriment. If not creatively, emotionally, it drives me nuts. I said, Jeff, you're going to do this for Lynn. You're going to do it for Lynn. You know, my self-confidence takes nosedives a lot.
Just like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep Lynn in the forefront of your mind. And that's what I did. You know, you're doing this for Lynn. And this will be a nice memento, a nice legacy for her, and wherever she is, you know, hopefully she will appreciate it. Now, not that everybody is doing a book on somebody who passed away while they were writing.
I'm going to finish this play for Lynn that I'm writing now.
Oh, right, exactly. So, yeah. Right.
Don't we have an easier time as people doing things for others?
Right. Embracing something external, whether it's for another person, whether it's for some situation in the world you want bettered, whether it's for somebody you don't know, for some deity or spiritual reason, do it. You know, I mean, that's exactly something external outside of yourself. And that also grounds you because it gives you better perspective, too.
Yeah, doesn't that tie in, though, with the projects that we choose? I mean, we should select projects that we care about and that we passionate about.
Absolutely, 1,010%.
Because the chances of us finishing those projects are better if we really care about what we're writing about.
I couldn't agree with you more about that because we have to do things that are meaningful to us. And there's a lot of beauty and enjoyment in the process. You know, no matter what happens, it's up to the fates, you know, where it may go once you present it into the world. But as long as it has meaning for you along the way, isn't that what it's all about?
Because each one of us has a purpose, why we're here. And if you write about
That's very true.
What has to do with that purpose, I think that the projects it's just a greater chance for them to be finished.
Yeah.
Now, what if somebody wants to buy a signed copy?
That's a very good question.
Do they have to hunt you down?
They have to hunt me down.
Okay.
They can contact me through my publisher, Bear Manor Media.
Bear Manor Media.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Amazon.com. Foxy Lady, the authorized biography of Lynn Barry. It's available at BarnesandNoble.com. It's available at internet bookstores in India, South America, England, you name it. It's all
over the place.
Yeah.
You're all over the place.
Well,
that's amazing.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure if she were sitting with us today, she would share with us how grateful she is for you. It's a perfect match.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much, Lisa. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share with you about Lynn and my writing experiences. I couldn't thank you enough.
Well, you're welcome. It's well deserved. Writers need that sort of support.
And you provide it to many.
Well, good. Good.
It's true, folks.
So I hope you sell 1 million copies.
Thank you.
This is a fantastic book on the life, and it is authorized, so you can guarantee that the information in here came straight from the horse's mouth.
You got it. You got it.
Have a wonderful holiday, and thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
On behalf of
Thank
the
you.
Writer's Desk.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.